All right.
It gets better.
Yeah, it gets better, he says. Hey guys, this is Galen Parker, your realtor's favorite realtor. In the background, you see Mr. Daniel Harnsberger. We are filming our first and possibly our only episode of Real Estate on Ice, where red hot agents take an opportunity to just chill out. And as you can see by some of the footage we've got two giant tanks of water that we're gonna hop in. We've got 126 pounds of ice. We're gonna take the plunge and get real about real estate. All right, guys, you can probably both see us in both areas. We are about to take the plunge. Now, that's awful. That is not pleasant. In case you guys are wondering, the ideal goal, we're going for 57 degrees, and we did not have a thermometer that worked well. 57 is generally where you want it. If we go lower, then it would just start freezing. It would be jumping into an icicle. And that's the next episode. But I believe you think 57's not that cold, but when you jump in, it's not pleasant. It is not pleasant.
That's what I like about it. We force ourselves as agents to do stuff
We're putting
necessarily
ourselves
love to do every day.
You know what? I had a video recently called Managing Expectations, and my expectations for this, the man, the myth, the legend, is this is going to be nightmarish. But I'm also an old, broken down man, and I keep on falling apart. I got a bad ankle, bad thumb, my back went out. So this is the best way for us to tackle the real estate market. So what we're going to do, what do you recommend first?
Do I need to rattle off my injury?
Fill them in.
Constantly torn elbow tendons, new right knee, jacked up neck.
Daniel's more metal than human at this point. All right, so Daniel, what do you recommend? Do we just put our feet in? How do you normally do
Man,
this?
I'll put my feet in, and then, the real test of your manhood, no pun intended, is
it's the plunge.
Getting below the equator.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But the best way, just like anything else in real estate, is to just
do it?
Yeah.
That is.
It doesn't get easier.
All right, so now we've got most of it in. All right.
It gets better.
Yeah, it gets better, he says. Nothing is getting better currently. All right, so Daniel, tell us, how long have you been in the real estate business?
I've been investing in. I started investing in real estate in 2014. You all right?
I'm fine. Just keep talking. Keep talking.
And then I became a licensed agent this time about 5 years ago.
Everything's numb. Good. I'm glad you told us that.
Yeah, this is supposed to increase testosterone production.
Well, watch out, everyone, because after today, we might be a problem. So Daniel, tell me, why real estate? What were you doing before you got into the business?
I was in logistics before that, but it's tough.
Yeah.
Which helped me learn Central Virginia.
I'm not crying.
No.
What? Logistics.
Yeah.
All right. So at some point, I think in every realtor's career, you either say, I'm getting out of the business, I want to get out of this bath of ice death. But then you say, man, things are taking off. What was that moment where you're like, man, this is actually working. I could actually make a career out of this. Was there ever a big sale or just some momentum that built up?
That's a great question. None of these questions were given to me beforehand, by the way. So,
I don't believe in that.
Yeah, so I think I got into coaching in late 2019, and I think when I started getting listing appointments and using objection handlers, I learned from coaching. Okay. I don't know, there'd be times where I'd, numerous weeks in a row, listing appointment, take a listing, and even last year, last year was my best year to date. Hopefully this year tops it. But I was like, man, I'm really doing this.
How many did you do?
I sold 55 homes last year.
55 homes? That's amazing. Woo! So mentally, right now, I'm just trying to say mind over matter.
I think
not even
great.
thinking about it. And that's kind of a part of any real estate business. Let's go outside of real estate. Are you an only child?
No.
How many siblings you got?
One.
One brother. You're older?
No, he's a year and a half younger, and we couldn't be more opposite.
Really? Why is that?
Just he's a stay-at-home dad. I'm working, long hour working bachelor.
Ladies.
Like, I mean,
Big Machines Bachelor.
call me.
Okay. What does he do for work?
He's a stay-at-home dad, which isn't
Okay.
a job in and of itself. I
Sure.
Yeah.
And I've got, there's a lot of people that hear that, like, it even, like, totally went over my head when you said it. I was like, damn. I kind of wish that I would have, like, slugged some of my vodka drink prior to, I currently can't move at all.
It doesn't help.
All right, well, at least you're honest with us. Family outside of that live in the Richmond area?
Yeah. My mom lives in Glen Allen, and my dad lives in the Northern Neck.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Earlier, you were telling me, so one thing that made, like, Daniel's already my buddy. We just went to Dallas together. We had a blast. Some of you guys saw some of the footage. Shout out to Tony Robbins, who liked my picture or my video on TikTok, and it was just a picture of me just getting in the vibe and Daniel, like, slowly coming over to the dance side. But one of the things that
He didn't get me on my. He didn't take a picture of my good side.
you know, when you're affiliated with the Davis Group, every side's your good side. I learned recently that, Daniel, you, like myself and all of my family, we are Knicks fans, so we're used to a constant level of pain, disappointment, similar to this ice bath, similar to real estate. Growing up, you said you started being a Knicks fan, what, the mid-90s?
No, early 90s.
Early 90s.
Yeah, Mark Jackson was our point guard.
Who's your favorite Knick?
Patrick Ewing.
Patrick Ewing. All right, that's a good one. Mine, I would say John Starks.
Yeah.
I love the tenacity of him.
I just wish he had had a better Game 7 in '94.
What? Really? Are we gonna go there right now? You want to see a grown man cry? You know, one of my favorite Patrick Ewing stories is this, and you know, we can't. There's no real way to fact check it, right? So if your people are out here and you see the story, I'm sorry. So my one of my uncles is he was a big, before he retired, like General Motors guy. So he was affiliated with a lot of dealerships up and down the East Coast. And the legend has it that Patrick Ewing went in there, and as a professional athlete all through college, he was not exactly a student of math and numbers. He did not have a strong financial literacy, which we kind of teach all the time. But he bought a vehicle, and he was very happy with it. He came back, and he talked to the team, and he's like, hey, look, this is the vehicle I got. And they were like, oh, that's great. What's your payment? And he gave him a number that shocked the world. And they were like, for this vehicle? And it basically what happened, like the New York Knicks Foundation had to like reach out to the dealership and to GM and just be like, guys, this is the most absurd thing we've ever seen. Like, you definitely saw him coming and took advantage of him.
What did they do? Give him like 100% interest rate?
I mean, it was something crazy. And like, they had to like fix it just for like goodwill and publicity, because like the Knicks were like, we will tell everyone never to drive like out of this dealership, out of there, like, but it really, oh god, it really talks so much about financial literacy. It's not getting warmer. You would think the human body would warm it up, but that is
that happened to another great Knicks center, Eddie Curry. He signed like an 85% interest rate loan but he came right out of high school.
Cheapers creepers.
Yeah.
I just went down low, and I feel like I was already in, but then like a little bit of ice just like crested my back. You know, it's funny, like, as I move my legs, it feels like there's still ice getting in places that hadn't been before. Was there like a bubble? I don't know. All right. So one of the things, Daniel, I use the expression one of the things a lot, so if you guys are counting, I'm probably up to 17. As a brokerage...
Game associated with
yeah, I know. As a brokerage, we are rewarded for not recruiting agents, because recruiting an agent means nothing if they don't like thrive. So
True.
we're compensated, rewarded for helping agents grow their own business, and I feel like that's something that you have taken, you know, pretty strong stride of. You've got Chris. You've got
just joined us.
Johnny.
Yep.
Who helped you when you got in the business?
Man, you know, the great thing about our business is there's a lot of people
What a
contribute.
PC answer.
Well, no, I mean, I just think this is the greatest business in the world, because like everything I have in some way or another is from real estate. Like, real estate gave me the ability to negotiate to get this house off market, you know, and real estate brought me the income to be able to remodel the house. I mean, just as like a couple examples, but like so many people along the way contributed, you know, to my development before I started, when I got in, and still to this day.
I love it.
I'm grateful for every one of them.
Real estate is like it's a wild thing. I was telling someone I it's hard to think for me. Like Daniel's used to doing this regularly. I am not. So I'm like, my brain's like, what are you doing? When I got into real estate, I left the company I was working for a Fortune 200 company. I was making a good salary, and I was like, I just can't mentally do this job anymore.
Right.
I was just like miserable for years. I loved my coworkers. I just hated the job. There was never a time where I walked away at the end of the day. I was like, man, I'm glad I accomplished X. It was just like, nah, we're just cogs in a wheel. So what I did when I left, this was like, it was crazy. I liquidated everything from them. I'm talking stocks, 401k, everything. And I just had the taxes, they took a bunch, but like I got a lot back. But I remember seeing, all right, I've got this number in my hand. And some people use expression like you bet on yourself or stuff like that. I don't really. But I had this, I'm like, all right, I've got this chunk of money in my hand. This has got to work. Real estate's got to work. I've got nothing else. And it was really crazy. So last year, I made more money than I ever made at that other company. And then even this year before, when I checked my account, I've got more money in my account than I did when I liquidated all the funds. And I just think I'm like, wow, don't ever take your hand out and then put it back in. It's so much worse. Don't do that. There's a mosquito trying to come really, bro? Did you see I'm already in enough pain? And it's just man, real estate helps me kind of accomplish that. Obviously, a lot of faith in a massive support system. My goodness, if you, Daniel, had to, we're not going to be able to last much longer because the testosterone that Daniel said is being produced is it's filling the tub right now. If someone came to you today and said, Daniel, I want to get into real estate, where should I start? What advice would you give them?
Oh, where should they start?
Where should they start? What's the first thing they should do to be successful?
Man, as you know, I used to be in pro wrestling, and that's. And
let's pause that in case you didn't hear it. Daniel said I used to be in pro wrestling, then he tried to casually go to something else. Yeah. I'm not the best at video editing or YouTube or stuff like that, but I'm gonna figure out a way to somehow either stitch a snapshot of Daniel wrestling or something, some footage in that just for you guys to see because I think you'll enjoy it. What were you saying, Daniel?
Yeah. Well, okay, so recently through, oddly enough, through my real estate website, someone reached out to me and asked me to recommend a wrestling school because they were familiar with that and they found my website and
interesting.
Yeah, so they sent me an email. And I think the parallels to how you should start in wrestling are really similar to real estate. So if my end goal was to make serious money in wrestling, like with WWE or AEW, I would go to a school that was ran by somebody who had the success I wanted in the business, that they had already had that or were continuing to have that.
Right, that makes sense.
Right. So I think it's the same thing when you join a brokerage. If your goal is to sell 55 or 75 or 100 plus homes a year, you don't want the people that are leading your brokerage to be former agents who sold maybe 12 homes a year or 14 homes a year or 20 homes a year or 40 when they were on a team. I think you want someone who's been where you want to go.
Sure.
Not that you can't learn something maybe when you're starting out brand new from those other people, but it's really important to and that's why I joined EXP is there were people here locally that are at levels that I wanted to go, like yourself and Jared and Clayton. So that was super appealing to me.
It's all freezing, guys. I'm slowly drifting away. Oh my God. Oh, don't splash yourself either. Do we have any more ice?
No.
We're all out of ice.
I don't have that commercial ice machine.
I was just thinking, how funny it would be if we dumped more ice.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
All right, I like it. So, it's what Daniel was talking about is what we talk a lot about. It's the power of proximity. It's really being around people who, for their own ability, will help you grow and to a place where you want. It's kind of like when we get a lot of calls from financial advisors and they're like, hey, invest with me. And I'm always like, how much money do you have? I'm like, I have a hard time investing with a guy who doesn't have more money than me. I'm like, how are you going to tell me to make more money if you you do it? You do it first, and then if it works out, then come talk to me.
Yeah.
So, man, this has been great. I don't know what the time is.
Oh, we should have I would have set a timer, but
that's all right. But guys, thank you for watching this. You obviously know me from Best Friend Team Up, and you'll see more of those.
Best Friend Team Up.
Maybe I'll throw like a little bit of that. You've seen Jared and I do a lot of different stuff. Cocktails for Closers. We've got a client appreciation party coming up. But I just thought, that's how we met. Daniel threw a Cocktails for Closers. So if you're an agent out there, you're looking to grow your business, you're looking to supercharge it as we not prepare for the shift. We've already shifted, but you want to thrive through the shift and not just survive through the shift. Then feel free to come to Cocktails for Closers. You probably have good ideas that we could learn from, and I hope that perhaps I've got a good idea that you can learn from. Feel free to come through. The next one should be October 19th. I'm still working on some of that to get that scheduled. But seriously, guys, this has been Real Estate on Ice, starring Galen Parker and Daniel Harnsberger. Did I get it right that time?
You nailed it.
Usually I'm like, Hornsberger. He's like, it's Harnsberger. Daniel Harnsberger with eXp Realty. Guys, this is what happens when two red-hot agents take time to chill out. Talk to you later.